the second week of OTAs continue here in the NFL as the Colts continue to go to work here on Thursday afternoon. And we've seen a couple things this week that have popped up that I just want to make a quick note about. This video will be a little bit shorter than some of my other ones, as I just want to make a couple quick notes, as I already had a podcast earlier this week. We saw the Colts get back to their normal work on Wednesday afternoon and continue on Thursday and Friday. And I just wanted to touch on a couple things that stood out to me from what I saw mainly on Wednesday and what I kind of think about it. And it's just kind of like what Frank Reich said in his presser following the Wednesday's practice, that it was red zone day. They did a lot of work with the first team offense versus first team defense with inside of the red zone. And we saw the starters go head to head in some plays here, not in full pads, still in shorts and kind of pro pad day. But we saw some work going on. And we saw the offensive starters, kind of for this week. Andrew Luck is still out. He's out for his second straight week with this little calf injury thing. I'm going to continue to say it. Don't make anything of this. That's just precautionary. And Reich has just emphasized that he doesn't want this small little thing in the second week of OTAs to, linger on any more than it needs to. So he's hinted that Andrew Luck will be back probably in these OTA sessions, but don't look for this to impact him going into the season, as he's doing all that he can to get ready. And Frank Reich has said that he's a 10 out of 10 upper body wise, and that everything is looking pretty ship-shape in that regard. But in the meantime, Jacoby Brissett is taking first team reps there at quarterback, and we're seeing a little bit from him. Marlon Mack is obviously the first team running back. He's taking first team running back reps. The wide receivers that we're seeing a lot from the first team reps are T.Y., Devin Funchess, and Chester Rogers. It's obvious that, this team, holds Chester Rogers a little higher because of his, his stint here with the Colts. And he's, been in some big moments and had some critical plays for you, even though that he's had kind of an up and down career to this point, and he's going to have to really prove himself here within the next couple months. And then tight end was Mo Alley Cox, still starting there as you're still trying to get your tight ends back. Jack Doyle, from his hip surgery, we heard from him, and he seems to be doing pretty good. He's about 20 pounds down from the time he was injured, so he's looking to be in shape right now, and he's looking forward to coming back. Eric Ebron with that little groin injury. We don't know if we'll see him in OTAs, just another thing, kind of like Andrew Luck. But Frank Reich has just kind of said that they're just keeping it careful for Ebron. So Mo Alley Cox getting a big chance right now to get some first team reps and get a lot of time. And then obviously your defense or your offensive line is the same from what we saw the latter half of the 2018 season from them. So nothing's changed there. And the big thing that stood out to me was the first two throws that Jacoby Brissett made on the day, or the two of the first three throws from Jacoby Brissett were interceptions. One of them was targeted to Devin Funchess, and you see a little bit of John going on. And this is a little unorthodox to see kind of at this time of year coming from the Colts. And what I make of it is, Brissett has not been playing well. We saw it last week, and I made a note on it last week that he's not been doing well, and he didn't have a good day on Wednesday. And Devin Funchess is probably, just a hint irritated. He wanted to come in here, and I remember the first presser that he said that he just wants to get some reps with 12. He wants to get comfortable. And, Andrew Luck is still kind of trying to get back here, and he's trying to get his reps with the first team quarterback, and he's not going to be working that close with Jacoby Brissett, hopefully, as Andrew Luck will be healthy. But, it's obvious that there's a little bit of disconnect there. They had a couple mistimed throws. Brissett struggled. He had, obviously the 2 interceptions in his first 3 throws and just some missed throws on some red zone opportunities, and just did not look well. So, I'm not saying Brissett is a big guy in this locker room and has a lot of respect. So Brissett is people have his back, and you saw Marlon Mack kind of step in between the two because he got heated. I mean, there were, words said. They were fight, not fighting, but they were jawing back and forth at each other as competitors. But these guys are on the same team, so it's a little weird to see that kind of in a second week of OTAs session. But I like the firiness and tenacity that we're seeing from Funchess, as he's showing that he's you know done pretty well so far. And that's really what I like to see, as you're really wanting to see Devin Funchess kind of take this number 2 wideout spot coming into week 1. So I don't make anything too big of that. Brissett's going to make up or step up and try to come in here and be something, and show his worth and show how highly appreciated that he is by Ballard and company. So nothing big there. These guys are, and it seemed to kind of mellow out as the day continued. So nothing that's going to linger on. These guys aren't going to have a beef or anything, but it's just something that I noted that was a little interesting to see in the second week of OTAs from the Colts. And just like I said, just a bad day for Brissett, and just not a great day for the offense. Kind of the defense kind of won the day. There was a lot of action going on around the field, and we saw for the second straight week now that Ben Banogu has taken all his reps at defensive end, so he's getting a lot of work there. I said on Wednesday, and Chris Ballard and even Banogu himself has kind of implied that there was a chance that he'd come in and play some Sam for the Colts, and I still think that's a possibility. But they're just working him right now as a rusher, so he's just kind of, from what I can tell, is going to be kind of a hybrid player, an end linebacker combo. I think that he has a lot of potential as an edge rusher with his speed and his reaction off the ball. But he has the potential to drop back in coverage from what we saw in his college days. So look for him this year. For the Colts to kind of mix things up, and we're seeing right now, just kind of from what I can tell, that the Colts have kind of, their mantra on defense, especially last year, they've been kind of a 4-3 defense, and you're seeing that right now too. And with your linebackers and the ends taking your reps there. So this is this is good to see from the defense. I thought that they made a lot of plays, and we're seeing some good things from Okereke. He's taken some second team reps there at the Mike position, as Darius Leonard is still trying to get back, and we're seeing some development from cornerback Brock Yussin, and this cornerback room in general is just looking pretty solid. They've looked solid from the get-go, so I really like what I've seen from the corner room. But this is a building period. We're seeing, guys just kind of getting back into the groove of football. So nothing that's gonna be too crazy. And then, Frank Reich in his ending presser, talking about the day, he's wearing, and proudly, I'm sure, his 1-0 mantra jersey, or the T-shirt, representing his 1-0 mentality that got them from the depths of 1-5 to almost getting on top of the tip top of the mountain there, all the way into the second round of the playoffs. So just a cool thing where it's really, we're seeing this team come together finally. It's post draft, a month post draft, and we're seeing, the second week of OTAs, these guys getting some work and finally a chance to view them a little bit. But we'll get to see these guys a little bit more as new free agents and rookies are getting more and more acquainted with this team. I'm really hoping that Andrew Luck is going to make a speedy recovery here, and I hope they don't rush him back, because it's not necessary for him to be back right now, and that's kind of what Frank Reich is implying. But it's crucial, I think, in some regards, that he gets some reps right now, some valuable reps with Devin Funchess and Paris Campbell, and kind of settle down this offense, because they've looked a little shaky as the quarterbacks right now with Brissett, Philip Walker, and Chad Kelly are now taking the reps. And we saw Chad Kelly meet with the media, the kind of the troubled cornerback signing that opened a couple eyes across the league when he was signed to the Colts practice squad. But he sounds like a guy that's pretty remorseful and grateful for a second opportunity, and he looked a little bit better on Wednesday than he did last week. So we're giving him a chance. There's not too big of a future, I don't think, for him in Indianapolis, but if he stands out, maybe he can go somewhere else and maybe make something of himself. But that those were just kind of a couple of notes that I wanted to kind of make about this. Like I said, I already made kind of a more in-depth podcast earlier this week, and if anything else comes out, I'll make a quick note, or I'll cover it in next week's podcast, where I'll go in a little bit more in depth and have a little bit longer segment. But I don't want to make this one too long. Appreciate you guys kind of listening in and keeping up to date with the podcast and what's going on with the Colts. I hope to keep you guys updated as we continue to move on through OTAs into the mini camp and then training camp later this summer. It's going to be an exciting time, as we're going to see what this football team's made of. And we're seeing a lot of plays going on. There was the backup Jets running back. It was like, I can't even remember what his name was, but had a one-handed like Odell catch in OTA practice. It was unbelievable. So, this is an exciting time, that across the league and in general, this is a time for players to step up and show their worth. And I'm sure that we're going to see some splashes like we saw last year, I thought, with Deion Kane, and especially in training camp, he just looked to be a star. So I'm really hoping that guys like Rock Ya-Sin and Paris Campbell are going to come in here and show their worth and show the hype, because they've done a decent job thus far. And we're seeing Paris Campbell as well. I wanted to mention he took a little bit of some first team reps himself too. They had some design plays that they were given to him. As you've looked at with Paris Campbell, looking at his highlights, and I've said before, he's just such a threat all over the field, because he's such a great screen player. He can run, crossing routes just probably better than any other wide receiver coming out of the college right now. He's just number one because of his speed, and if you get him on man coverage, I mean, that crossing route's going to be deadly, and just simple slant route patterns and stuff. And we're seeing a little of that right now. And I think the little trick plays that Frank Reich likes to call every once in a while, we're going to see some of that with Paris Campbell because of his versatility. So I'm looking high on Paris Campbell here, and I'm really hoping to see some of the Colts rookies and free agents kind of make some splashes here in the OTAs with some plays. That's all I wanted to talk about. Like I said, I wanted to make it a little short. If anything else comes out, I'll make another quick note. But I appreciate you guys listening and keeping up with the Indianapolis Colts podcast. Subscribe and like if you haven't, and leave a comment down below. I do very much appreciate it, and will be talking to you guys next time. Thanks for watching.